Everyone, this is Krista Dunk of 100X Publishing and the Author Acceleration Academy, and I'm excited to talk with my friend Patricia Roberts today. And I need to actually make sure that I'm not going to echo and put myself on mute here on Facebook. Okay. Oh, the joys of technology. Actually, let's be real. The joys of technology have saved us in the last year. Thankfully, we have platforms like this. We have social media to stay connected. We have Zoom for meetings, interviews, all kinds of great things. And today, I'm excited to interview you, Patricia. You are an author. You have a book that came out in about mid-October last year, and you're part of our Author Acceleration Academy, and excited to be talking to you about a couple of things. So first, I would love to talk with you about kind of you as this new author life thing, like how's it going and how was it writing your book and things like that. But then I also want you to be able to share about your specific message in your book. So your book, can you give us the full title of that? I know it's Route 529, and what's the subtitle for that?
Sure. And Krista, thank you for having me here today. And thank you for all you've done to support myself and other authors. In terms of the name of my book, it is Route 529, A Parent's Guide to Saving for College and Career Training with 529 Plans.
Excellent. And I'll actually say this again at the end, but where can people find more information about your book if they are looking for it?
Sure. So my book is available on Amazon, and I will say through midnight Pacific time on May 29th, it is being offered $5 off on Amazon. So it's priced at $14.95. It's now $9.95. And I did that for the month of May leading up to 529 days. So individuals can find that book on Amazon.com, and there's a paperback version and an e-version of it.
That is a bargain. That is a bargain. I have personally read Patricia's book, and my family has done the college savings plans here in our state. And I can say what she has to say about the topic and subject is very comprehensive, but it also shares a story about your own family and how you have used it with your son and how that has impacted not only his college life and experience, but really his future. Now he's not going to have the student loans that, I've done some work with people kind of in the real estate field as well over the years, and those student loans can really be a hindrance to some of the things that people would like to do in life, like buy a house, things like that too. So anyway, I know it can be a burden, but first, I think people who are maybe watching and they're like, I'd like to write a book. I've always wanted to write a book. And, it's fun to hear from authors. So what was your process like writing this book? Because this is something you kind of talk about on a regular basis anyway with your regular career, correct?
That is correct. So yes, the topic of my book very much relates to my career, and I have a really strong personal connection to the topic as well. So I've always loved writing. I think all the way back to probably middle school and beyond. I was my high school newspaper editor. I edited a political science journal in college, and then I pursued law school, where there's a tremendous amount of writing. So writing's always been something I loved. And when I began working over 20 years ago in the 529 field, I began writing about the topic of 529s and saving for college. So I've been asked to author blogs. I've contributed to different publications through the years. So I had a body of work that I had written on and off through the years upon request generally, nothing that I'd really necessarily initiated on my own. So I knew that I had a lot of material. I knew I loved to write. And there came the 10-day write a book challenge that you presented, Krista, back in January of, so what year would that have been? Last year, was it?
Probably January 2020, probably, yeah.
Yeah, it was 2020.
Mhm.
So I've got this in the back of my head. I've kind of always been thinking of it. And then you come up with this challenge in January or February. And I recall participating to the extent I could. And I think you asked us to write an initial chapter or paragraph, something simple. And the other participants really liked my topic, as did you. And from there came COVID. And I don't mean to laugh, it was such a terrible time, but I suddenly had all this time on my hands. Yes, I was working full time. Yes, with a demanding job and a household to run, but suddenly I had more time on my hands than ever because I was not traveling to and from work. I was not going on business trips. I was really right here all the time. And I thought, if not now, when am I going to write a book? Now's the time. And the other factor that was on my mind is, even with the devastation from COVID on the news every day, I was still hearing about student loan debt. That kept creeping into the headlines as well. And it was really disheartening. You were hearing about people losing their jobs because of COVID, becoming sick because of COVID, not being able to pay their student loans back, and all sorts of stories around that. And I thought, my God, I know the way, or a way, to avoid or minimize student loan debt. My firm, Gift of College, had also done a survey last May around 529 Day, and we determined, which has been the case for years, that 64% of the surveyed population did not understand 529 plans. They were unfamiliar with them. So student loan debt in the news, almost 65% of the population still not familiar with my area of expertise, and time on my hands was the perfect recipe. So I started writing. And how did I do that? I think I've talked to you a little bit about this before. You know, I'm somebody who has a good morning routine. I follow someone named Mel Robbins, and also Hal Elrod, who does the Miracle Morning. And I get up and I have a quiet morning, really early part of my day, dedicated just to myself and to goals that are really personally important. And I just factored writing into many of those days. I used a website that Mel Robbins once recommended called 750words.com, 750words.com. I think that's what it's called. And I would just, pretty diligently begin to write. Again, I had a lot of material to draw from, but this just started to come about. And I would say I started in earnest around April or May. And as you recall, Krista, because you helped get me over the finish line, in October, I published the book. So really was a matter of a number of months of just focusing on the book. And that was that.
And you did it. Yes, you're a published author.
Yes.
As they say, you're in the 1% of those who write a book. That's it. 1%.
Is that true?
That is. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I feel like everybody has something to share. Everybody could potentially write a book, whether it's something, a skill, a passion, a creative, inspirational things, stories, whatever. But, 1% of people do. So yeah. So congrats on that. And what's it been like so far, this author life? Are there any unexpected things, or just, give some of your general thoughts about what it's like to be a published author now?
Well, it's a very satisfying feeling. I very much wrote this book to help other parents and grandparents or individuals with future students in their lives. And I feel like I'm doing that. I've heard from people who've read the book. I've read my reviews on Amazon. Not that I'm counting, but I did notice I've got about 68 reviews. And when I read them, it just warms my heart. I mean, people are saying that I've made a somewhat complex topic understandable. People feel inspired because not only did I share, as you'll recall, having read the book, the nuts and bolts of how to go about saving for college and what these 529 college savings plans are, which I know we will discuss, but I interspersed my own experience as a saver, as a mom who had grown up in a low income family and who had paid back back together with my husband over $100,000 in our own student loan debt. I shared some of those stories and stories from others who I had met through the years. And I think that makes it somewhat interesting for people. I also did key takeaways at the end of each chapter. I envisioned a busy working mom or dad or grandparents picking up the book and having to set it down because there were a million other things going on. So I tried to make it as easy as possible to understand. You'll recall that I made the line spacing kind of a little bit wider and just spread it out in such a way that it felt easier to read for people. So what does it feel like? It feels satisfying to have done exactly what I wanted to do, which is to help people. What else does it feel like? I feel like I had a good amount of credibility. I've worked in this field for over 20 years, but I do believe writing a book just bumps it up a notch. It just adds an additional element of credibility, and it gives people something to point to that you've actually done, in addition to maybe some other things, public speaking or blog posts or panels that you've been on. This is just one more thing, and there's something very tangible about a book. So that's felt good. Any unexpected surprises? I really did not think about how to market the book. I focused on writing as good a book as I possibly could. And I didn't really have in mind how to go about getting the word out. And it's great to have something that's well written and that's potentially useful, but you really need to publicize it. So I've learned a lot about that. And my knowledge is evolving, and I continue to find ways to get the word out. Grassroots has been a wonderful way, but there's also other approaches that can be impactful. I've started an Instagram and Facebook account. I'm Route 529 Mom, Route 529 Mom, if anybody wants to follow me. And I've posted a lot on LinkedIn as well. And I've had some interviews, which we can talk about with the press, which has been really helpful too.
You had one today on CNBC, like this morning. So I was like, oh, go Patricia. It's so exciting.
Yes, yeah.
Interviews are a big deal. They really are. I feel like most any topic, most any type of book, there is some kind of audience out there, some kind of show, some kind of podcast, some kind of blog, right? There's an audience for that. So yeah, that's one of our tasks as authors. Some of us love to write. We get joy out of that process and we're excited about it. And the marketing piece is like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I don't know anything about that. So yeah, that marketing a book as an author is definitely a journey. Mm-hmm. And it's not a one size fits all situation either. What are your goals as the author? What's your topic? Who's the audience and where are they? And there's a big kind of mix, I think, of things that need to be considered. For sure. So, okay, I would love it if you could explain just kind of what is a 529 plan, because I think sometimes people think of these financial topics and they can be intimidating at times in kind of the school systems. There's a lot of financial education that's missing, quite frankly. And so, yeah, for those who aren't sure what a 529 plan is, can you let us know?
Sure. And anyone who's not sure is in very good company because, as I said, a large percentage of the US population is not familiar with these plans, but I'm happy to share what I know just at a high level and certainly open to questions down the line if people have them. So a 529 plan is named after Section 529 of the Internal Revenue Code. Some of your viewers may have heard of other savings instruments like 401k plans. That's also a section of the Internal Revenue Code. 403b plans. These are a special plan created under this 529 of the Internal Revenue Code that allows individuals to save on a tax advantage basis for a particular purpose, and that particular purpose is higher education. So what happens with these accounts, and by the way, nearly every state and the District of Columbia has at least one 529 college savings plan. It's the state of Wyoming that does not, but every other state has at least one option. And what happens with these plans is when people put in contributions, these are after tax dollars. So you've earned the money and you put contributions in, the earnings grow tax-free while they're in the account. So with other forms of investments, you may recall if you have a bank savings account or perhaps a brokerage account, at the end of the year, you're getting some sort of tax statement that shows the earnings on the account, and you do owe tax on that. Not the case with the 529 plans. So they're growing tax-free, and the earnings are never taxed as long as when you withdraw the funds, you use them for some form of qualified higher education expense. Now, these are expenses that can be incurred at a wide range of institutions, not just four-year colleges. So even though they're called college savings plans, they're really for a much broader range of educational experiences, including two-year college, four-year, of course, trade and technical school, even certain registered apprenticeships, and certainly graduate and professional schools of many types. There are thousands of accredited institutions across the country, and these plans can be used for them. And then while studying at those institutions, they can be used for tuition, fees, room and board, books and supplies, equipment that's required for whatever the course of study is, and even computers and computer peripherals. So a wide range of expenses can be covered by these plans. And then in addition to that wonderful federal tax-free growth, tax-free withdrawals, as long as you're using it for those purposes, over 30 states have a state tax credit or deduction for contributions to the college savings plan as an incentive for families to save. And these range from a couple $100s a year to thousands of dollars, depending on the state that you're in. And in fact, in my book, I have, Krista, you may recall, I have at the back a listing of all the states that have these special advantages, so people can be aware of the fact that they can take an additional credit or deduction for contributing. So that's really the basics of 529 plans. They are investment accounts that are earmarked for a particular purpose, and they have special tax advantages.
Very nice. Hopefully that was very clear. That was simple. I thought straightforward. Save money for college.
Yes.
Gross tax-free.
Yes, even better, right?
Even better, even better. I know for my family, when our son, our firstborn is our son, and he was about 2, I think 2.5, and we actually started saving incrementally for his college expenses. And I'm so thankful that we have. And then our daughter was born and we did the same thing. And it just, the peace of mind that can give you. So if anybody is a parent of young children, I don't think it's too early to start thinking about it. I don't believe that college is going to be cheaper in the future unless some miraculous societal change happens and higher education is somehow free. I don't know that that's actually going to happen. And even if you saved towards it, there would probably be some kind of, well, get your money back if that's the case in the future. But I think it's just prudent to do that. So why are you so passionate about this topic, Patricia? And what are you hoping that parents and family members, I'm assuming a lot of parents and grandparents are going to be reading this book. What do you hope that they walk away with when they're done reading?
These are great questions. So in terms of my passion, I am a firm believer in the value of higher education. I know firsthand the many doors that it opened in my own life. As I may have mentioned, I grew up in a low-income household. I almost missed the opportunity to pursue higher education because of cost. And I'm so glad I went ahead and did it. And it just improved the quality of my life in so many ways. And I was able to improve the quality of my mom's life and my siblings as well as a result of getting educated and having career and other doors open for me. So I'm a firm believer in the value of higher education. And it breaks my heart to know that many individuals don't pursue it, or they start it and drop out because of cost. So that makes me passionate about wanting to help people get there. Why else am I passionate about it? That student loan debt is so disheartening, and talking to so many families who feel like their lives have been almost destroyed by the fact that they weren't prepared for their child's college education and that they had to borrow a considerable amount. People are now reaching, in some cases, the end of their lives, and they still haven't paid back student loan debt. This is so upsetting to me. And I know there's another way of doing it. And I know the value of preparing in advance. So I feel determined to let people know. And because I saved for my own son, and I talk about Route 529 in the journey, I'm at the end of our journey. The destination that I and my husband envisioned 20 some years ago is now coming to be. We're going to see our child graduate from college without student loan debt. And it's what we wanted, and it's what we worked towards. And I know what it feels like. It feels so good. So I really want to give people the knowledge that they need. That's what I hope they have. The knowledge, whether they pursue a 529 plan or not. I have a lot of great tips about how to save, some strategies for thinking about the future, different steps that can be undertaken, whether they relate to 529 or not. But I want people to at least have the information that they need to make decisions. I want to give them confidence that this is doable. You do not have to save it all. I certainly didn't. My son had received some merit scholarships, has worked his way through high school and college to some extent. You don't have to save it all, but I want people to know whatever they can save is that much less that their child will need to borrow and repay with interest. So I really want to leave people with knowledge and strategies and a little dose of inspiration, because I was able to do it. And I know that others can too. And I also want to leave people with the following information. They can invite friends and family to contribute to their accounts if they are so inclined to do so. There must be, Krista, you know from your own two children, there must be many people in your lives who love them, who want to do something for them for annual birthdays and at least one annual holiday. If you look at the number of occasions over a child's life between birth and college, there's at least 18 birthdays. There's at least 18. I bet every family celebrates at least one holiday a year. That's 36 events. You throw in some other milestones and awards, religious celebrations, whatever it may be, you've got like 40 events where 5, 10, 15, 20 people, who knows, want to do something for your child. And if you can get comfortable telling people that you really don't need any more of those really cute outfits that are so quickly outgrown, or you've got enough stuffed animals, or they've got enough toys and games, and that you'd really prefer, if they are so inclined, to contribute toward the college account, those dollars can add up. I mean, if somebody gave $20, $25, $50 twice a year towards an account, I mean, that can go a long way. And I want people to also know that employers now are starting to contribute towards 529 plans. Some are offering information about 529s in the workplace and offering the ability to contribute from payroll deduction. That's how I saved. The money did not cross my hands. It came out of my paycheck a little at a time. If you can get your employer to at least do that, and then possibly ask them if they might match or contribute, that would be a great thing, because there's a growing number. I think it's around like 10% of employers right now are starting to do that. So don't feel you need to go it alone. Get the information you need, get the confidence you need, a dose of inspiration, and a reminder from me that there are others who can help you and would probably be glad to do so.
So true. And, I like it how you have said to people also, if your children or grandchildren are already in middle school, junior high, they're already in high school, it's not too late. It's really not too late, because if you have 4 years to save, that's 4 years of money that you're saving up. And that's wonderful.
No, it's great.
If
It's great.
never started, then,
It's great. And it's also, you may recall that my son, who is a college senior now, wrote the foreword to my book. And what he reflected on is what he learned from growing up in a family of savers. And again, we were not constantly talking about this, but we certainly incorporated saving into his life. And he certainly knew from an early age that he was going to college. And the way we were going to get him there was to save a little bit at a time. So he was well aware when he got holiday gifts or when we counted the coins in his piggy bank twice a year, that part of that money was going towards the college account. And he also knew we weren't spending money on things that we didn't need. We would talk about that from time to time. So we drive a 21-year-old, 22-year-old car. We didn't need another car at any point. We live in an urban setting. We don't need more than one car, and that car works fine, knock on wood. And, you know, we didn't need to get anything new. And we talked to him about that. Not that he was ever suggesting we do, but we explained to him the decisions we were making as a family and why we were making them. And they make perfect sense to him now. And I feel like he's all the more equipped as a young adult now to understand that you accomplish things that you set your mind to by taking consistent steps along the way and being dedicated to the vision of what you want. And I think that's terrific. Parents can teach their children so much by, you know, saving together as a family, even small amounts of money. It can go a really long way.
That's true. And set up your money priorities, right? What are
Yes.
we not spending on because these things right here are our main priorities, and this is really what we want to put our money and resources towards. So yeah, smart to get kids thinking in that way. So thank you so much. I want to just have you talk one more time about if someone wants to purchase your book, Route 529, where they can go and do that.
Okay, sure. So my book is available on Amazon.com and you can buy it there. You can buy the paperback version, which I think we showed you before, with the nice road sign on it. Or you can purchase an electronic version, which is cleverly priced at $5.29. So it's $5.29, the e-version of it. And as I said, through midnight, your time, Pacific time, on the 529 day, which is a national celebration of these plans, I will have that $5 off. So my paperback is $9.95. And people can reach me through you, Krista, certainly if they have questions. And I'm on LinkedIn and Route 529 Mom on both Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you again, Patricia. You have brought amazing revelation, I think, to some people on this topic of 529 plans. Some people, like you said, so many have never even really heard that they exist. And I know that your goal and your mission is for people to learn about it and potentially put it into action in their families' lives, in their children's lives, their grandchildren's lives, and be able to get them out of college, through college, with no student loan debt. This would be a great thing. So your mission is very valuable. Thank you for what you're doing. Congrats on your book and all the publicity that you are receiving on it. So exciting. So exciting.
Thank you, Krista. And thanks for your support and your interest in my topic and for helping authors like me in so many different ways. I know you have many services that you provide, but I know you got me over the finish line. There's a lot to learn as a self-published author, and I got really close to the end, and then I said, Krista, please help me, and you did, and I'm all forever be grateful for that, and I know you've helped so many others in so many ways, and I hope people will call on you, as I did, for things that they need, because it's easier when you don't go it alone, or you've got someone who's been through it before who can help explain some of the things and do a little bit of hand-holding.
Thank you for that. I agree. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to know. You don't have to live the lonely author life that, you know, you see the person at their desk just by themselves forever. Yeah, you know, you don't need to do that. I don't recommend it.
No.
So yes. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Those who are watching live right now and those who watch the recording later. Patricia Roberts, Route 529. Thank you for all your wonderful information about your author experience and about your message that you are wanting to get out to the world. So thank you again.
My pleasure. Thanks, Krista.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, that wraps up this author interview. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time with another amazing author that we need to hear from, who has a message and some tips to share. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.